My name's Vicky Mather. My intention since I was about 17 years old was to work in film production, because my first job at 17 was on a feature film as a runner. And the reason why I got that job is because my mum's a hairdresser and she used to cut the hair of an art director who happened to be somebody who had won an Oscar and an Emmy in the past. I developed and made my short film Stanley Pickle that was entered into ECU Film Festival, and where it won. And it won at many other film festivals. We got into about 120 film festivals and we won about 33 of those. And we made it into the long list for the Oscars. And I'm told the reason why it didn't get the nomination is because they didn't know where to place it. So there's an award for Best Short Film and there's an award for Best Animation Film. And they didn't know whether to place it in live action or animation, because my film, the way I approached my film, in the experimental way I approached it, was by shooting life-size people on a stills camera. So there was a lot of conversations apparently about how I had achieved this. And some people were like, oh, it's just in sports mode. And they just gone on the shutter and left it open. And that's not really what we did. We had 2 sets in 2 locations and some motion control. And we shot it all on a small Canon camera. I started writing the film when I was on MySpace. And it's making me sound really old now, but yeah, I had a profile on MySpace, and people were noticing my work because I was working as a photographer. I was taking pictures of lots of bands. I'd had some things published in some notable magazines, and that it was a really amazing place for networking and meeting other artists, and that I met there was so many artists that I just absolutely loved. I did meet an artist called Keaton Henson, who was a really fabulous musician. So we just used to chuck a sketchbook back and forth, and we were each drawing like a frame for a story that we wanted to tell. It was always about this little boy who was finding dead birds, and I had had a lot of instances where I had found some dead birds and I had photographed them in these really sort of colourful ways to kind of immortalize them or whatever. You know, there's like a lot of things in there, but mainly it's kind of like letting go and growing up. It's a typical coming of age story. So I took that. I said to Keaton, I'm going to take this to the National Film School because I reckon we can make it. So we'd actually made a puppet to begin with. It was meant to be a puppet, but I took it there, and after a year of being at the National Film School, I said to my tutor, this is a puppet film. That's the way we designed it. Here's the puppet. This is what we're going to do. And she said, are you sure you're a puppet animator? And I was like, yes, absolutely. It's all going to be puppets. So she gave me a puppet from Aardman, the animation company from the UK who make Wallace and Gromit. She said, here's a puppet. You've got a whole day. Animate that puppet and prove to me that you're going to make this into a fully functional puppet film, animated. I did have a lot of communication, and a lot of opportunities came out of screening at the ECU Film Festival, because I know that the festival CEO, Scott, travelled around the world with my film, and it went to lots of other festivals because of the ECU Festival and because of his network and his connections. The film did a lot more than expected. There was also an event in Paris that I did fly out for at the Palais de Tokyo, where my film was selected to screen for an event, and I bumped into Scott at that place, and he interviewed me on the balcony in front of the Eiffel Tower, and it was one of the most magical experiences, and it was so lovely to meet with him and catch up with him and his family and what they were doing, because I know that his sort of dedication and passion towards giving young people a platform to share their work and a place to discuss the work with like-minded people is something that's obviously never gone away, and it's such an incredible investment. I fully endorse this festival. I think it's absolutely brilliant because it really has opened some doors for me, especially when I was trying to promote my film initially. So I did write a feature version of Stanley Pickle, and I was offered 2 feature potential feature developments when I was in America. I was nominated as a BAFTA Brit to Watch, where BAFTA flew 40 filmmakers from the UK to the US, to Los Angeles for, it felt like a 3-day party, but to meet literally everybody in Hollywood. And I feel like I did meet literally everybody, including Quentin Tarantino, and I had dinner with Captain America, Chris Evans, and the head of Disney and the head of Pixar. And I spoke to them about what I was doing post-graduation. So I got a job in commercials because I thought that's where I would be earning money for my creative input. Little did I know that kind of money takes at least maybe 5 or 6 years to even get regular work. And at the time in 2010, this is pre-Me Too, if you're a woman, even harder. So I was going up after brick wall after brick wall, which is quite normal, but I thought, I don't know whether this is sustainable for me, because I was going back and forth to America, and that was quite costly. But I do feel like it is something that you have to invest in, particularly if you're making a feature film, because the most amount of money that I could secure would be about £250,000, which is, for me, not enough, especially when my ideas for art direction are quite demanding. So for me, I thought, well, I'm never going to get that amount of money. I don't know people who can give me that amount of money either. But at the moment, I've been working really hard on my teaching career, and I do feel like if you are going to teach, you have to have had some experience in industry. It is pointless to go into a teaching job if you have no experience in industry. So what I really, really enjoy and what really feeds me is seeing other people and seeing other people be able to tell their own stories. Because I feel like film is the most modern form of self-expression, and it's just another way for us to be able to really empathize with each other. And I feel like there's other people in the world who are perhaps more important than me, who need to be able to have a platform to tell stories. I do believe everyone should make a film at some point in their lives, because I think we all understand each other a bit better through that format. I do have another film idea, but unfortunately I did a load of tests and my iMac just gave up, so I've just lost half of it. So I'm going to have to shoot it again, so it might take me another year. But that's okay. You know what? I've got time, and I don't want to rush anything. I'm just going to do what I want to do in my own time. I don't need to feel that pressure. I think in the world we have lots of different types of learners, and I've been presented with that my entire life. And I think some people learn from somebody standing there and lecturing them in a room, and others learn from being able to realize things themselves because they have their own motivation and curiosity. But visuals always help. And you can read, it's the famous quote, a picture tells 1,000 words, but the sort of connotation and the meaning of images can become so universal with the removal of speech. And you just have to watch Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton to realize that.